Do you also stay awake the whole night, experiencing the overwhelming weight of exams, assignments, and extracurricular responsibilities? The continuous demand for high grades and the fear of disappointing parents or teachers can create a toxic cycle that affects mental health. In this video, we will explore the various sources of academic pressure and how they contribute to stress among teenagers. Have you ever heard the saying, "Start as you mean to go on"? In many ways, this attitude is what we instill into our children from a young age when it comes to education. We constantly encourage them to stay one step ahead and always be ready for the next academic hurdle. However, too much of a good thing can be bad. This persistent anticipation of what's next in their academic journey can have distressing results. Academic pressure is a term you may have heard, but what does it really mean? Imagine a student weighed down by the demands of time and energy needed to meet specific educational goals. This strain can originate from a multitude of sources. It can have a profound impact on students, both emotionally and scholastically. It's quite typical for young folks to impose academic pressure on themselves. This is often influenced by external factors. For instance, the escalating competitiveness of college admissions, expectations from parents, the desire to blend in with peers, and so on. Just as different strokes are for different people, students react differently to academic pressure. Some teenagers might feel a mild academic pressure that drives them towards achieving their goals positively. Yet, it's important to consider the other side of the coin. Some find the pressure overwhelming and counterproductive. You might think school-related stress is always troublesome, but that's not the case. Stress isn't all bad. There's such a thing as good stress, the kind that's well within our capacity to handle. This stress type is essential as it helps build resilience and promote personal growth. But now, let's see the darker side of stress, the unhealthy one, also called distress. This kind of stress feels out of control and can take a massive toll on teenagers. When one is distressed, the fear of negative or undesired outcomes shoots up. Shared little. That's not all, folks. It gets worse. Distress tends to kill focus, fuels procrastination, and breeds fear or concern. It's like being caught in a storm without an umbrella when you're in distress. It's overwhelming. Due to this distress, our teenagers may find themselves dealing with a bout of anxiety. A cloud of depression hovered over them. The urge to distance themselves socially leads to isolation, a diminishment of self-esteem, a growing sense of insecurity. Even worse, it is a potential slide into substance abuse. From the outside looking in, it's clear that we need to take this matter seriously and create an environment where our future leaders can grow healthily and happily in their personal and educational lives. The National Institute of Mental Health shows that in the teen years, from 13 to 18, about 1 in 3, or 31.9% to be exact, are grappling with some form of anxiety disorder. And let's not forget that the stress from schoolwork can sometimes add fuel to that fire. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention let us in on another worrying trend. They found out that nearly 12.8% of our young ones have had to face a major depressive episode at least once. We all know the pressures of school can sometimes be quite overwhelming. This stress could come from different sources, such as pursuing absolute perfection, receiving intense pressure from our parents, juggling sports alongside academics, or simply dealing with a hefty amount of coursework. Now, it's no secret that these pressures have been escalating. Alarmingly, we're seeing an uptick in the number of young folks, especially teens and young adults, grappling with not-so-pleasant experiences like nervous breakdowns, panic attacks, burnouts, and, yes, even depression. The stress of schoolwork can tumble into their emotional and even physical well-being, leading to a whirlwind of stress symptoms. And it's not a handful. The list is rather extensive and a touch worrisome, with each symptom revealed by Stanford University being more concerning than the last. Let's start with the first on the list. Remember when a good grade felt like a cherry on top of a fun day at school? Well, for these students, it's more like the only meal of the day. They're positively obsessed with grades. It's not just about learning anymore, but a roller coaster ride of grade anxiety, taking a toll on their mind and punishing them with constant worry. Remember when healthy competition in academics felt like a good sports match? It's turned into a never-ending race where extreme competitiveness is the norm. Students are pushing their limits, but it's not always a sprint to the better finish line. You'd think teenagers would enjoy meals over fun chats about the day at school. Instead, these academic stresses are causing unforeseen changes in their appetite. Let's not forget that they must work tirelessly, at a stretch, leaving little room for relaxation or even a pause. It's a sad sight, really, to see young students turning to stimulants like caffeine and, in worse cases, prescription medications, all to keep their weary eyes open and concentrate on their never-ending pile of work. And the irony is that they are having sleep difficulties, struggling to drift off even when they're bone-tired. Relaxation is a word that's almost alien to them, with an increasing inability to chill out and unwind. Even more heartbreaking is the social isolation, distancing from friends, and the sheer loss of interest in activities they once found joy in, be it sports, music, or just hanging out. It's a reality for many teenage students, caught up in an exhausting cycle of academic pressure. Every parent wants their child to touch the stars. If you are a parent, you aim to motivate and empower your child to excel in school. However, it's no secret that pushing too hard on teenagers for better academic performance can often backfire, becoming a root cause of stress. Teens may end up feeling as though failing to secure grades will disappoint them, sparking heightened anxiety, sleep issues, and even changes in eating habits. It's a crying shame, but the distressing truth is that school shootings have become a pervasive issue in our society. This distressing phenomenon brings about its fair share of emotional upheavals among teenagers. Youngsters are faced with the grim prospect of violence in their safe havens of learning, creating clouds of dread and anxiety that hang over their heads. From merely hearing about such unfortunate incidents to witnessing them firsthand, the experiences can trigger many emotional responses in teens. They might battle with constant anxiety, sink into the quicksand of depression, or even grapple with the intense turmoil of post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a tough road, no doubt about it. Some students are so traumatized by these incidents that they prefer staying far away from school, abandoning their educational journey altogether. Success is reaching a goal or a dream. But remember, scoring top grades, earning teacher praise, or securing a scholarship may not necessarily equate to success, especially if your teenager doesn't feel valued, loved, or respected. So we must shift our focus towards building an environment that prioritizes emotional wellness over mere academic achievement. Encouraging open dialogue about feelings and stresses can help students articulate their struggles, allowing them to seek help without the fear of judgment. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content.